Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm pleased to introduce our presentation titled Out of Expectation Results. We'll be exploring how detection, evaluation, trending, and quality decision-making come together to address unexpected outcomes. Over the next few slides, we'll discuss key concepts, methodologies, and insights that can help us better understand and manage these results. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the OOE results. While they are within the specified limits, they still don't behave as we would normally expect. This is an important point because it suggests we're dealing with something more subtle than outright failure. In fact, these results can be considered a pre-OOT signal, meaning they might be an early warning sign of potential instability or analytical variability down the line. It's crucial to understand that OOE, or out of expectation results, focus specifically on unexpected changes in system or process performance, rather than outright product failure. These signals can alert us to underlying issues before they escalate. So, when we talk about the definition of OOE, we're referring to those results that fall outside of what's anticipated, but don't necessarily mean the product is failing. Instead, they highlight areas that require attention. From a regulatory perspective, recognizing and appropriately addressing OOE results is key. They serve as early indicators, helping us maintain control and ensure ongoing compliance, even before any major issues arise. In essence, understanding and acting on OOE signals is vital for proactive quality management and maintaining overall process stability. Let's look at some examples of out of expectation, or OOE. One common case is when we see a sudden jump in an assay value. Even if that value still falls within the acceptable limits, it can be unusual if it doesn't align with the historical mean. Basically, if the number spikes unexpectedly compared to what we've seen before, it warrants attention. Another example is an atypical chromatographic peak shape. Even if the system still passes the suitability tests, a shape that looks different from normal might indicate an issue, like a developing problem with the process or equipment. We also encounter pH levels drifting toward the limits repeatedly without a clear reason. This kind of fluctuation might seem minor, but if it happens frequently or persistently, it could be a sign that something is changing in the process that we need to address. Similarly, weight measurements showing a new pattern, though still within compliance, can be a clue that something is shifting. It's important to recognize these patterns early so we can investigate before they develop into bigger issues. So, in essence, out of expectation refers to any data point or trend that's unexpected or unusual, but still within our defined specifications. It's a critical indicator because these signals can hint at underlying risks, like process drift, equipment problems, or human errors, that we need to catch early. Recognizing OOE helps us maintain control and ensure consistent quality throughout our operations. Let's take a closer look at the regulatory landscape guiding our monitoring practices. First, the FDA emphasizes the importance of trending and data review to enable early detection of atypical patterns. This proactive approach helps identify issues before they escalate. Moving to the EMA and EU GMP standards, they require us to trend all critical quality attributes and analytical data, ensuring we maintain consistent quality throughout the process. The ICH Q8 to Q10 guidelines go a step further, expecting continuous monitoring of both process and analytical consistency, which supports robust process development and control. Additionally, the WHO and PIC-S regulations mandate the evaluation of abnormal patterns in areas like stability testing, in process controls, and quality control. All these requirements converge on a key point: the importance of OOE, or out-of-specification and out-of-trend event monitoring. This approach allows us to identify analytical and system abnormalities early, before they become out-of-specification or out-of-trend issues. So, in summary, these regulatory frameworks underscore the vital role of proactive monitoring in maintaining quality, ensuring early intervention, and ultimately safeguarding product integrity throughout the life cycle. Let's take a look at some common signs of system suitability test, or SSD, variability. These are important indicators that something might be off in your system. For example, instrument baseline noise or drift can suggest that your instrument isn't stable over time, which can affect your results. Unexpected increases or decreases in replicate variability might indicate issues with precision or consistency during your testing process. Changes in peak shape, especially in HPLC or GC analyses, can signal problems with separation or detection. Monitoring control sample trends is also key. If you notice unusual fluctuations here, it could point to underlying issues. In-process controls showing slight but unusual fluctuations are another red flag to watch for. Microbial monitoring may show unexpected variations, but as long as they remain within acceptable limits, they might not be a cause for concern. Lastly, environmental trend fluctuations, such as temperature or humidity changes, can impact your results as well. It's important to note that often, out-of-expectation events, or OOE, tend to appear first, sometimes as a subtle sign, before you observe out-of-range or out-of-spec events. Recognizing these early indicators helps us catch potential problems early, ensuring the integrity of our testing and overall quality. These are some key areas where OOE detection is critical and applicable, helping us maintain control and consistency throughout our processes. Now, let's look at some key concepts that differentiate these terms. OOT, or within specifications, outside expected trend, is an early indicator. It means the data is still within the acceptable range, but it's starting to drift away from the typical pattern, hinting that a potential failure could occur in the future. Think of it as a warning sign that things might be heading in the wrong direction, even if nothing is technically wrong yet. On the other hand, OOS, or outside specification limits, indicates a more serious issue. It shows that the data has exceeded the predefined limits, pointing to a clear quality failure. This is a conclusive sign that something has gone wrong and needs immediate attention. So the important conclusion here is that OOE, or out of expectations, is actually the earliest warning stage in our quality monitoring hierarchy. It's when the data still looks normal overall, but there's an unusual or unexpected pattern emerging. The key is that OOE occurs within specifications and within trends, but the pattern itself is suspicious or unexpected, signaling us to look closer before it escalates. Understanding these distinctions helps us catch potential issues early. OOE acts as our first alert, giving us valuable time to investigate and prevent more serious failures down the line. Let's talk about sudden changes that can occur during analysis. These changes might involve the instrument response, such as area counts or detector sensitivity, which can fluctuate unexpectedly. We also look at recovery percentages in samples or standards. If these shift suddenly, it could indicate an issue. SSD parameters are another key point. They might change, but still stay within acceptable limits. However, any variability between replicates that appears suddenly or unexpectedly can be a red flag. We also need to watch for unusual noise, drift, tailing, or resolution problems in the data. The critical thing to remember is that any change must be statistically or visually abnormal, even if it technically falls within predefined limits. To manage this, we rely on internal SOPs, which set alert limits and control limits to help us identify these anomalies. When we see results that fall outside these criteria, we classify them as out-of-expected results, or OOE. Recognizing these signs promptly is essential to maintaining data integrity and ensuring quality in our analysis. Now, let's take a closer look at control charts. These tools are essential for monitoring system performance over time. For example, Shewhart charts are classic, and they help us identify variations that might indicate a problem. Moving average charts smooth out fluctuations, giving us a clearer view of the overall trend. CUSUM charts are more sensitive to small shifts, making them useful for early detection of issues. These charts allow us to compare system suitability across different periods, helping us understand how stable our processes are. By analyzing trends in control samples and standards, we can spot patterns that might suggest instrument drift or other changes. Reviewing historical instrument performance gives us a broader perspective on long-term stability. Regression-based trending offers a way to assess how method sensitivity evolves, which is key for ensuring consistent detection capability. Additionally, process capability indicators like CP and CPK help us quantify how well our process meets specifications. It's important to remember, especially from a regulatory standpoint, that all detection methods we use must be scientifically justified and applied consistently. This consistency is crucial for maintaining compliance and ensuring the reliability of our results. Finally, we also have out-of-expectation detection tools, or OOE tools, which help us identify when something is outside the expected range, ensuring we catch issues early before they impact our quality or compliance. Let's start with the initial review. Here, I focus on confirming that our sample preparation was done correctly, ensuring the method was executed properly, and checking the SSD and instrument status. It's crucial to verify these foundational steps before moving forward. Next, I review the calculations and chromatographic profiles to make sure everything aligns with expected results. Moving into the analytical evaluation, I compare our current data against historical control data. This helps us identify any deviations or trends early. I also evaluate the standard, blank, and QC trends to ensure the data remains consistent and reliable over time. Then, we perform instrument and method verification. This involves checking calibration records, maintenance logs, the health of the column, and the status of the detector. These checks confirm that our instruments are functioning optimally and that our methods remain valid. If an issue arises, we need to determine the root cause. The key question here is there an assignable cause? If the answer is yes, then we document the corrective actions taken to resolve the issue. If no, we consider whether this might be an early trend shift, which could indicate a developing problem that needs monitoring. Finally, the QA review and documentation process is essential. This ensures that all findings, actions, and observations are properly recorded for traceability and compliance. And when it comes to out-of-expectation, or OOE, investigations, we follow a structured approach to thoroughly evaluate and address any anomalies, maintaining the integrity of our analytical process. Now, let's talk about assessing the risk of future out-of-trend or out-of-specification events. It's essential to evaluate how these risks could impact several key areas, including stability studies, release results, and the robustness of method validation. We also need to consider process performance to see if any trends suggest potential issues down the line. Updating ongoing trends related to methods, instruments, and products helps us stay ahead and make informed decisions. Based on this assessment, we can determine if corrective and preventive actions, or CAPAs, are necessary to mitigate risks. It's crucial to document all these decisions thoroughly, whether in the Laboratory Information Management System, LIMS, or in an OOE investigation report. The ultimate goal here is to strengthen our control strategies and foster continual improvement. By proactively assessing impact and trending data, we enhance our ability to maintain quality and compliance over time. Let's take a moment to discuss what OOE means. OOE stands for an early signal that indicates there may be unexpected behavior in our analytical processes or manufacturing procedures. Recognizing OOE early is crucial because it allows us to address issues before they escalate. Regulators, of course, expect us to be proactive in monitoring our processes rather than waiting until problems become obvious. This proactive approach helps us prevent outcomes like OOT, out-of-specification results, and OOS, out-of-acceptance results. Ultimately, this proactive monitoring supports our primary goal, ensuring the highest product quality for patients. To effectively detect these early signals, we need to rely on statistical detection methods, structured investigations, and thorough documentation. These elements are essential to identify issues promptly and address them systematically. It's important to note that OOE detection and response are integral parts of ICH Q10, which is the pharmaceutical quality system standard. Incorporating these practices into our control strategy strengthens it and helps us maintain regulatory compliance. In summary, paying attention to OOE not only helps us catch potential issues early, but also reinforces our commitment to quality and compliance. Best practices include continuous monitoring, thorough investigations, and maintaining detailed records. These are the keys to a robust and effective quality system. For further support, please contact us. We're here to help with any questions or additional information you might need. Don't hesitate to reach out. Your success is our priority. Thank you so much for your time and attention today.